Hello and welcome to another How Lou Sees It review. Today I am going to be reviewing a prototype version of the game Yardmaster, which is going to be published by Crash Games. It will be coming to Kickstarter here very shortly, and it recently won an award here in Salt Lake, close by, the Ion Award, and it's a kind of a set collecting card game, and it is for 2 to 4 players. And let's go ahead and take a look at it. Since this is a prototype, the components here are not going to be, may not be the finished product. I must say though that these prototype cards are actually very nice quality. So if the final version is as good as the prototype cards here that I did receive, then I would be happy with the quality of the cards. Okay, so what do you get in the game? You're going to get a deck of cargo cards with the yellow backing. You'll have a set of rail cars with this orange backing, and you'll notice the rail cars and the cargo cards are color coded with that represent the different kind of commodities and the rail cars associated with those. Okay, so you have yellow is going to be, you're going to have yellow oil cards from the cargo deck, and you'll also have yellow oil cars from the rail deck. Okay, and besides those 2 decks of cards, you're going to have 4 of these gray-backed engine cards that each player will start with to start their train. You also have 4 of these exchange rate tokens. Okay, and now these are just little kind of cardstock cutouts. In the final version, I'd really love to see some high quality kind of poker chip discs for the tokens for these. We'll see if that's maybe a stretch goal or something that would be really cool. But anyway, I mean, they could easily be just the cardboard kind of tokens as well. Hope they're nice quality. But yeah, so you're going to have 4 of those. You're also going to have a Yardmaster token, which is a special token that would get passed around throughout the game. There's specific rules for 2-player, which I won't get into great detail. But basically, whenever you have the Yardmaster token face up in front of you on your turn, that allows you to take an additional action. And that gets passed around as we go. So really, that's what makes up the game, other than the instructions. This is set up for a 2-player game. You're going to have the Yardmaster token. Each person will have an exchange rate token. You can put these face down, shuffle them out, deal them out. The other 2 tokens would go in the bank. You have 3 rail cars available to purchase, and deal out 3 cargo cards to each player. You will keep these cargo cards secret, but for me showing you how the gameplay works, I'm going to go ahead and flip these cards over so that you can kind of see the different cards and how the game's going to play. So the object of the game is to load your train first, competing with the other players. You're going to try to reach the point goal before the other players. To do that, you're going to collect the cargo cards and use those cargo cards to buy the rail cars in the middle of the play field there. The rail cars are numbered 1 through 4 for each of the colors. Ones being more frequent, and then getting less frequent as the numbers get higher. The point value that you'll be going for will change depending on how many players you're playing with. number of players. If you're playing with a 2-player for this 2-player game, the goal would be 20. And then basically you're just going to drop that point goal by 2 points for each additional player. So if you're playing with 3 players, it'd be 18, and 4 players, 16 points. The points are represented by the cost of the rail cars. So this number is the cost and point value for the rail cars. And yeah, so that's the game. This is the setup. Again, you have the different commodities in all 4 different colors, and you'll also notice that my opponent here has a bonus card. There's a few of these in the cargo deck, and they can be played for a free action, and there's multiple ones that do different things. This one is Steal 1 Cargo card. Okay, and I'll show you how that plays. So to begin the game, you won't have any cards in the cargo discard, but I'm going to flip one over just for reference. Okay, so on your turn, you're going to be performing 2 actions. Okay, 2 simple actions, and we'll show you what those actions can be. One of those actions can be to gain a cargo card. You can do that either by drawing a cargo card off the top of the deck blindly and adding it to your hand, or you may instead, if there's an available card here face up, you can take this face up card and add it to your deck. Now, the bonus card, as I had shown earlier, if my opponent had played that and it was back to my turn, I would not be able to pick up this bonus card. I really like the kind of thematic feel to these cards, the bonus cards, because you have the rail crossing X, and but it also serves a great purpose and kind of a reminder that you can't pick that up from the deck, kind of an off limits type of thing. And I automatically comes to mind as I'm talking about that, I'll just talk about the artwork in general, kind of get away from the gameplay for a minute. You'll notice that the artwork is very simplistic, but it's very well done, very crisp, very clean. I love the just simple numbers. The rail cars are very detailed in their simplicity, if that makes sense. So I really do like the kind of artwork. It's clean, crisp, and simple, and I think it's a good analogy to actually how the game plays as well. Very simple game, but very clean, crisp, solid mechanics. So anyway, you can draw a card from here or here, and that's how you gain your cargo cards. Okay, you can have a max of 7 cards in your hand at a time. At the end of your turn, if you have any more than 7, you're going to have to discard down to 7 cards. The other thing that you can do is purchase one of the rail cars from the center and add it to your train if you can. Okay, now let's go ahead and explain how you add these. So if I were to purchase this oil car, I would need 3 oil commodities. Okay, or you can use these exchange rate tokens. Okay, so this, for example, I can turn in 2 coal for any commodity. In this case, I would want to turn it into oil, so I'd be able to purchase this oil car. And all the cards would go here in the cargo discard, and I would be able to add this to my train. Now, the first engine card here is kind of a wild, so I can put any card here. But after that, depending on what card is on the last end of your train, depends on what you can place behind it. So with this card, I can either place another 3 of any color or another yellow oil car. When you're purchased a rail car, you're going to flip one of these over immediately. And now, this is very interesting. Usually, like I said at the beginning, there's more ones in the game, but we've kind of started with some higher cards. So, looking at the table here, I've started with yellow 3. So, out of the cards currently face up, the only one that would immediately be able to be played onto my train is this red 3. Okay, so if the turn came back around and I had enough livestock commodity cards, I'd be able to purchase this and add it to my train. Flipping over another card, then I would be able to purchase either the 1 or the 2. If I purchase the 2, I could later on put a blue 2, etc. So that's how you can add cards to your train. Again, this is the point value of your train as well. In a 2-player game, first to 20 wins. So with these 4 cards, I am already at 10 points. Halfway there. Okay. Let's see. That's basically the gameplay. It goes back and forth. Besides gaining a cargo card or purchasing a rail car, you can only purchase one of these per turn. The other thing that you can do is you can exchange these special exchange rate tokens. So each person has one, and in a 2-player game you have some in the bank. So as an action, I can go ahead and change that with a token there, or I can go ahead and exchange my exchange rate token with my opponent. Maybe throw him off, or maybe he has one that I need. Okay, and that's how the game plays. I've enjoyed it as many times as I've played it. I'm still getting into it a little bit more, but it does offer some very interesting strategy as you're trying to get as many points as possible on a turn. I'm very tempted to make sure that you purchase and add something to your train each time. Well, the other thing that I will note is if you're in a situation where you purchase a card and it cannot be added to your train, you can still purchase the card, but it goes off into a holding area. Okay, so later on in the game, if you purchase a card that can be added to your train, you can immediately add any cards from the sorting area to your train for free actions. And you can, if you had multiple cards, you'd be able to order those as you would like. Okay, so if you purchase a card and can't add it to your train, it's not a complete loss, and you can actually add a lot of rail cars later on in the game if it all matches up. So you really kind of want to make sure that you're purchasing rail cars as much as you can, even if you can't add them directly to your train at that time. There's kind of a balance, though, of making sure you get a card each time and saving up your commodities to get the more pricey rail cars and the cars that are worth more points. So very, very fun game. I really like the artwork to the game. I think it's very solid. Looks like very ready for production. The exchange rate tokens, in a 2-player game, it didn't seem like it made a huge difference. It does add kind of a nice element to the game. The Yardmaster token, having an extra action every once in a while, having the Yardmaster token really makes a big difference kind of in how you utilize the cards that you have, and if you're able to kind of complete a coal car and get all of the commodities and everything that you need to purchase that, so that you don't risk leaving that for your opponent to buy and for it not being there next round. But yeah, so I've really enjoyed it. It's a very simple kind of set collecting game. but very, very solid, and I just really have enjoyed it. So, and that is again Yardmaster, and it is going to be published by Crash Games. You can look for it on Kickstarter here just in a few days.